Our class on the Vedic literature given by His Grace Yudhisthira.Prabhu. Hari Hari Bol! So Yudhisthira.Prabhu has been a member of our community for a good number of years. He's played a prominent role in starting our Bhakti Chakra groups around SanDiego. So I'm very grateful for him for that, and hopefully he'll be giving us a very nice talk about Krishna consciousness tonight. Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me? Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Sodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama So, thank you everyone for coming tonight to our Krishna Fest. Before I start, I'd like to welcome Janavi, who's an old-time resident of New Govardhan, and her daughter, Vrindavan. They're residents of Mayapur Dham, so we should offer all respects to them. Hare Krishna. Janavi's husband, Vaikuntha, was the temple president here for many years. And actually, I joined the same time he joined, and we were initiated together, actually. We were the first bhaktas in the bhakta program here, actually, with Bhakta Irving and a few other devotees. So. Roger's going to come up and do an Irving impersonation for us. And we're so glad you're here. And so first off, I'd like to say some prayers to our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Badaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachate Starane. So we say these prayers to the Vaishnava Acharya, to the Guru, before we start any endeavor. And the reason is because we're actually in a line of disciple succession called a Sampradaya, the Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya. And it's this knowledge is passed down. It's just like some of you. Is there any new people here? Brand new people? There's a brand new person. Welcome. Oh, welcome. So this knowledge, it's just like sometimes people know this about martial arts and stuff. They have a sensei or a master in the martial arts, and they teach their students, and then the students can then again pass the knowledge on. So this temple represents a long line of great spiritual teachers who pass this knowledge on to their disciples, who then became perfected and passed it on to their disciples. And so when we're speaking to an exalted crowd like yourselves, and we want to, and someone's very foolish like me, or anybody, we want to channel that the Sampradaya, the great Acharyas. So we realize that we're coming to this position to speak about Krishna, to speak on behalf of Srila Prabhupada, of the disciple succession, and we offer homage to the Guru so that we may somehow be empowered to speak on behalf of Krishna, Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda. So, like this prayer we said, the last prayer we said, Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachate Satanane. It's the first part of that prayer is that we're offering deep respects to Srila Prabhupada, who is Saraswati Devam. He's representing his Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And Prabhupada often said that he would sometimes tear up and thank his devotees, his disciples, for assisting him and helping his mission to serve his Guru Maharaj. So Prabhupada set this standard of humility. And the theme of our talk tonight is humility and how it can enhance your life in so many ways. So what's the theme of our talk tonight? Humility. Say it again, louder. Humility. And so we're recognizing Srila Prabhupada's humility, even though he was a Jagat Guru, the most empowered Acharya, that he took this knowledge and spread it all over the world in a very short amount of time. Srila Prabhupada did this on the order of his Guru. He left the most holiest of places, Vrindavan, which is actually situated in the spiritual world, although we can geographically arrive there from here by flying for 31 hours. Very blissful. A small price to pay to go to such a wonderful place. But Srila Prabhupada left there at the age of, he came here at 70 years old. He landed in this dark, dank corner of the material world known as the United States. And he did this on the order of his Guru Maharaj, that he told him to come here and spread this. And Srila Prabhupada had such faith and such dedication to Bhakti, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, that he did this. He came here where this place that's the antithesis of Vrindavan Dham, where he was living, where there was thousands of temples and wall-to-wall bhakti yogis everywhere you look, you know, and it was the most powerful, empowered place there is in the universe, anywhere, and through the cosmic manifestation. And Prabhupada left there and came to the reason, and it's the antithesis of bhakti, because bhakti is a practice of service, the underlying current of focus in the Western world is service to myself. Right? Everybody is trying to satisfy their senses in any way they can. And we know that the actual satisfaction of the self is service to Krishna, unadulterated service to Krishna. And so Prabhupada left a place where everyone was trying to serve everyone else, and he came here where everyone was trying to serve me. I mean that everybody was doing it. Not you, but other people. And the reason is that it's because everyone is operating on the consciousness that I am this body. And we know that that these bodies change, but we don't. We're still here. We know that every decade or 12 years or so, almost every cell in the body completely changes except for the hard cells, which they're changing, but we just don't live long enough for that to happen. So the fact is, if the body is almost completely changed, but it's still you there, that means that conclusively that you're not your body. So everyone is trying to chase after enjoyment of something that's not them. Therefore, there must be frustration. And everybody is accepting and rejecting. I like this, I don't like that. I like this, I don't like that. This person likes this. I don't like them because they like this. You see it. You see it real obvious in these election years, right? It's everybody's like pitted against each other. You know, I like this guy and I like that. You don't. And so, in a situation like that where everyone has opinions and everyone has, it's all relative. Truth is relative. Determination is relative. How can there possibly be any peacefulness or happiness? It's impossible. And nobody's ever beat that system. So Srila Prabhupada, he came to this place out of pure compassion, pure grace, pure compassion, that he wanted to save the fallen souls all over the world by giving them this knowledge in order to rise above the suffering, this futile attempt to try to enjoy something that's not us. It's just like this, Krishnamurti. Just pretend your back itches. Now reach up and scratch the wall. Did that feel good? No, not at all. So if you're not your body and you're trying to scratch an itch that's not you, it's just impossible. So Prabhupada came to this place with the highest knowledge, empowered by the parampara. So like I was saying before, we say these prayers to the Guru because we want to tap into that transcendental vein so we can assist, we can please, because the Guru has given us so much, we want to please the Guru, and what pleases the Guru is showing mercy on the conditioned souls and assisting each other in this in spiritual advancement. So in this prayer we said, Namaste Saraswati Deva, and we acknowledge that Prabhupada in his humility and is humble, and he's accepting that by the grace of my Guru I'm able to do this service. And he's accepting that and then next, Gauravani. Gauravani means the word of the message of Lord Gaurachandra, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is another very important aspect that makes this temple so wonderful, and that we're connected to this parampara, this disciplic succession. And in this disciplic succession is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is an expansion, not different from Krishna, but he comes with a special mission. And that mission, that Gauravani, to give the Gauravani his message, which is to deliver the highest, most elevated knowledge of that there is. And not only that, deliver to the conditioned souls in the most. And in this age of Kali, that we're in now is a very degraded age. If you don't believe me, you just watch the news at night. You know, there's so many things, or look at this presidential race, or anything. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in this age, and he's freely giving out this love of God, just freely giving it out to everyone, and that's very special. That's very special. In previous ages, this knowledge of Vrindavan, of Radha Krishna, and their pastimes were only given out to very qualified personalities. And then it was given out very meticulously to persons who were at that state to get it. But here, in this age, due to the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's giving this out without qualification. And by the grace of Prabhupada, the empowered position of Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, he's written these books, and he's written them in such a way and is so empowered to pass this message on that we can understand this message even in our fallen state. Even though we're qualified to live in Kali Yuga, and it says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the qualifications for Kali Yuga are we're short-lived, quarrelsome, lazy, misguided, unlucky, and above all, always disturbed. Did I miss anything? That's it. So that's our qualification, and you see that everywhere. Everybody is always disturbed because they're running after the satisfaction of the body. They're trying to scratch the wall and relieve an itch, and it's not working. So they're running mad after these things. Everybody, and it's such a painful position. This hankering and lamentation. I mean, and this hankering and lamentation, this accepting and rejecting business is just so distasteful. It makes us do so many embarrassing things. You know, we want to, you notice how sometimes someone will say something and the false ego kind of makes you just automatically say something, it kind of trumps it, makes it better, it doesn't listen. So what's our theme for tonight? Humility. Humility. So the opposite of that would be humility. Would be by not being humble, you lose that ability to listen. You lose that ability to listen to the. It says that in the fourth canto when Lord Shiva, when Sati went to the sacrificial arena where Daksha was performing this sacrifice, and he didn't invite Lord Shiva wasn't invited. She wasn't invited either, and she went. And he was finding fault. Daksha was finding fault with Lord Shiva. And she told him that she explained that when you find fault with great souls, or anybody for that matter, you lose your ability to be able to hear the saintly persons, to hear knowledge. And so it's a very dangerous position to do this fault finding. We'll talk about that more. So, but this Gauravani, back to this Gauravani that we acknowledge Srila Prabhupada is giving this special compensation for this age of Kali, that he's distributing freely this love of God. And so we're acknowledging Prabhupada that he's the servant of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati, the lion guru of West Bengal, and he's giving out this Gauravani, this message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to just take the highest knowledge, take it. And he's assisted by his brother, Lord Nityananda, who is actually Balaram in Krishna Lila. And Nityananda is such that Nityananda does all this service. Lord Krishna, he's the supreme person, and he just enjoys in Vrindavan. He's enjoying his pastimes. And Lord Balaram, he manifests through his energies. He's an expansion of Krishna. Through his energies, he creates the whole material manifestation. He floats the planets. He is the Adi Guru, the original Guru. So he's doing all this work, but it's not work, it's service to Krishna. He's doing all this service to Krishna. And what's the nature of service to Krishna? We were talking about this before, that the opposite of what people are doing on the material plane, chasing after sense gratification for the body, which they are not, the opposite, the antithesis, or the opposite of that is to do service, pure service to God. And that's all Balaram does. Therefore, he's totally intoxicated on love of God, which is a natural position of the soul, to be totally intoxicated on love of God. That's why in the material world, when in the conditioned state, people search after intoxication, because it's the natural position of the soul to be intoxicated by serving God. And so people, they go after this. But what happens on the material realm? Because, like I said, everyone is trying to satisfy their body. Intoxication on the material realm becomes the most selfish thing there is. People become completely absorbed. They don't take care of their families. They don't take care of their responsibilities. They just become completely absorbed, and everything just goes to hell in their life. And so, but on the spiritual realm, this intoxication of love of God, which is the this material intoxication is the perverted reflection of this love of God, this intoxication of love of God. It's endless and ever increasing. Satchidananda Vigraha, ever increasing bliss. That means you're so intoxicated, you think you couldn't possibly be more intoxicated, and every second you are. That's the nature, that's the substance of the spiritual world. That's the substance of it. So Lord Chaitanya, so Nityananda, he does more service than anyone, and he's so intoxicated on love of God that it says that he just wanders around in a drunken state, and he can't see, and every time he sees something moving, he can't differentiate whether they're qualified to take this love of God, this highest knowledge, so he just gives it to them anyway. And that's the nature of Gauravani, of what Srila Prabhupada has given us. So Nityananda is like, it's like if a man, a very rich man, and he has unlimited funds, and he takes it all out of the bank, and he's drunk, and he's wandering around and says, "Hey, want some money? Hey, want some more?" Goes up to dogs. "Hey, want some money?" So that's Nityananda's state, but with love of God, the state of love of God. And Prabhupada is in that mood of Nityananda, and he's come to this forsaken land and left Vrindavan. He came and he just gave out this love of God. And that's the Gauravani. So we're recognizing, when we say that prayer to Srila Prabhupada, we're recognizing that Prabhupada is the conduit of great grace. There's a difference between, I looked up grace and compassion in the dictionary. And there's a difference between them, and I want to read that if I can find it. Unless I didn't write it down. Well, it said that grace is free, unmerited favor of God. That's what grace is. Whereas compassion is a sympathetic pity and concern for the suffering of others. So grace is actually an action item, right? It's just giving out the grace, this free love of God. And so this is the nature of Srila Prabhupada. And this is, so again, we say these prayers because we want to be empowered by the parampara, by the great disciple succession. This spiritual process is not a mechanical thing. It's not that if we got the ultimate manager in the material world, and we got the ultimate, the efficiency expert, they used to call them, right? Or these guys that do these seminars, and we brought them in, and we put up the perfect managerial system. That would not increase this flow of grace, of Krishna's mercy from the disciple succession. This is not a mechanical process. That's why we say these prayers, and this movement goes on, and spiritual advancement goes on by the mercy of the Guru, and the mercy of all the Gurus in the succession, all the way to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda, to Krishna. So it's not a mechanical process. So we do this. We say these prayers to induce that energy that's beyond beyond the material senses. In other words, we can't understand this by the material senses. It's all by the mercy of Guru. And all we have to do is have a little bit of intent in that direction. You don't even have to have that. Devotees go out and chant on the streets. Why? Because they're spreading the holy names so people hear it. It's Guru Kripa, mercy forced upon you by the Guru. And Prabhupada has set up this mechanism to spread that to everyone. So we're acknowledging that when we say Gauravani, that Prabhupada is the conduit of that mercy, and that he's Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Prachadane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi, and he's come in the middle of this age, this low age, where we're contaminated by these ideas of atheism and voidism and impersonalism, that the Supreme is impersonal, that there isn't a person there. Because that idea is offensive to someone who is steeped in the false ego and is struggling and so hard to make themselves be recognized in the material world, to somehow rationalize their existence in a place where at any second everything is finished. And that's the nature of these bodies. That's the nature of everything, So everybody is running, trying to rationalize their existence, trying to make themselves be noticed and recognized as, look, I'm here, and there's a reason for it. Really, there is, So they try to defeat each other and try to know more than each other, And that's why this whole mechanism out here keeps going. And that's why the products keep increasing and getting better and better, because nobody gets to a pinnacle. Nobody becomes satisfied. So Srila Prabhupada came to this place, and that's why we said that. That's why we say that prayer. We're recognizing the great position of Srila Prabhupada as the general of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, who is giving out this mercy freely to everyone. Then there's another prayer we say before we start these classes. We say a few, but here's one. But this is my favorite. It goes like this. Vanchakalpa Tribhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. That I offer my respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone just like desire trees, and are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Because in one sense one could say, and you guys might think that I'm deviating here, but you can say that this mantra is more important than the Maha Mantra, which is the deliverance for this age. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And the reason I say that this mantra to the Vaishnavas that takes a humble position to all of you who are here with an intent on raising your consciousness spiritually. And this prayer is to all of you, and this is offering, because it induces the mood, it captures the mood of humility. What's our theme tonight? Humility. And without that humility towards the saintly persons, towards the bhakti yogis, towards those who are raising up their spiritual consciousness, without your association, I'm just out there doing madness. And trust me, madness. And so we can't execute spiritual life without the association of devotees. Impossible. Impossible. So you should look to your left and your right, and in your mind offer all respects to that person next to you. We're so fortunate to be in this group of great souls, and I offer all respects to all of you. And that's so this prayer, because this humility is so important, and it helps with so many. It relieves so much suffering, no matter where you're at in your spiritual life. It's the first time you came here. You practice these basic. You practice cultivating humility, and you'll find so much relief. Humility is necessary to make the field fertile so we can grow our spiritual lives. All good qualities are based in humility. And what is that humility? Humility means, in essence, it means coming to the point where we realize we have nothing to offer. Now that's shocking to a materialist, right? What? You think I can make a self-help book and I'll say, you have nothing to offer? I'll be like, yeah, man, that sounds good. I want to cultivate that. But it's a fact. Because we're all part and parcel of Krishna, of the Supreme. Now, we talked about how everyone in the material world is scrambling accepting and rejecting and acting upon that, right? I like this, you like that, I like this, and therefore it's all turmoil. So the common denominator, the common thread that solidifies the whole family together, and we're all one big family, is Krishna. Because Krishna is the source of everything. We're part and parcel of Krishna. We're the tiny jiva, the tiny soul is a spark of Krishna. An individual spark of Krishna forever. And that solidifies us. That solidifies the family. That's our common thread. And that's the peace formula when we recognize that Krishna is the supreme friend. He's the supreme benefactor. He's the supreme controller. He's the source of everything. And that our natural position is to serve Krishna. And then everyone is working together in harmony. And it's not that you have to move to the Himalayas or move in a temple or you just, in whatever station you are in life, you serve Krishna and you put Krishna in the center and your life becomes perfect and happy. And so this humility means that in the face of Krishna, the Supreme Person, then we can have our real pride. We don't want pride. We know that pride is the opposite of humility, but real pride is recognizing that although I really have nothing, the Supreme Person, Krishna, loves me more than I can possibly imagine in my wildest dreams. Krishna, who is perfect in wealth, beauty, fame, knowledge, renunciation. Did I miss any? Wealth, strength, and renunciation. Krishna has that in full. He's the source of all that. And what are we always attracted to? We want, people worship the Bollywood movie stars, the Hollywood movie stars, people that have a lot of money, but they're not complete, so there's no pleasure there. So that's the perverted reflection on the material world, that we worship some rock stars that, until they overdose, or and we still worship them. I mean, not to bust on rock stars. So the point is that's the actual, we become pride and humbled at the same time in the face of this knowledge that Krishna loves us more than anybody could possibly imagine, and Krishna is the ultimate person. He has all good qualities, and he's the most compassionate, most caring, most loving. And that's humbling. And that any good qualities, it says in the Bhagavad Gita that Krishna is the Krishna is the source of all good qualities. He's the ability in man. Krishna is the ability in man. So we understand that any abilities we have, they come from Krishna. So that's what I mean when you come to that point. That humble point is very freeing, realizing that I have nothing to offer. Because who can offend me if I have nothing to offer? It says, you're a fool. I say, yeah, it's true. Isn't it sweet? You know? You don't got nothing. Yeah, it's true. But we do. We have Prabhupada's mercy. We have the grace of Srila Prabhupada and the love of Krishna. We have the highest knowledge. And nobody can take that from us. That's the gift of Srila Prabhupada and the gift of Krishna. So, and also what's the theme? Humility. So you can get free from, no one will bother you anymore if you become humble. So we've got that going for us, right? And what is a byproduct of accepting and rejecting? Fault finding. Gossiping, fault finding, criticizing. I do it all the time. Am I the only one? Does anybody else ever do that? Okay, we have one. So every once in a while, let's munch a couple through this chat. And it's a natural thing we want to do. We fault find. We look for, because again, on the material plane, when we're trying to satisfy this body, which isn't us, when we're trying to scratch the wall and relieve an itch, it's we're scrambling to try to rationalize our existence. And so if we we become threatened by someone that maybe looks more cool than us, right? We have to like find something wrong with them. And so that's this fault-finding process, and it's such a horrible feeling, this fault-finding process. When you give it up, to whatever degree you give it up, you get so much peace. And really what it is that let me find fault in someone else so I don't have to look at me. Right? And that's the process of Bhakti Yoga, is a process of introspection. It's a process of that every day we chant this Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And we chant this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And Prabhupada says what we're asking is, we're calling out for Krishna. Say Krishna. 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 Now say it, Prabhupada says we should chant this in a mood of a baby calling out for her mother, a lost child. So say that. Krishna! Krishna! Isn't that nice? That we want Krishna. Please come, because Krishna is non-different from his holy name. In this age, these holy names are especially empowered, and Krishna is non-different from these names, his names. Krishna is present in his names. Krishna is there in his names. Hare is Radharani. She's there in her names. The pleasure potency, the most compassionate Radharani is there when we say Hare. Hare! Hare! So if we're calling out, please, most compassionate, have mercy on me. Hare! Hare! Ram, Balaram is present in his names. Nityananda Ram, the Avadut Nityananda Ram, wandering around intoxicated on love of God, giving out free love of God, is there in the name Ram. So if you want some of that, call out Ram in that way. Ram! Ram! So these holy names, I forgot how I got there. Oh, what was my line of thought there? Okay, yeah, except. Oh, okay, so when we're asking Krishna, Prabhupada said when we're chanting these Maha Mantras, we're asking Krishna, please engage me in your service. So from the material consciousness, especially the material consciousness in this age of Kali, this iron age of Kali, where everyone is, what was the material consciousness we spoke about? The opposite of the theme. What was the theme? The opposite of the theme is that we're trying to satisfy my personal senses, right? It's the complete opposite of unmotivated, uninterrupted service to Krishna. But yet every day we're chanting Hare Krishna and we're saying, Krishna, engage me in your service. Please engage me in your service. So that means we're asking Krishna to take us from this spot of this self-absorbed, selfish spot of serving me to this point of serving Krishna unmotivated and uninterrupted. So that means, in my case at least, things need to be removed. There's some issues there that are blocking that path. They're called anarthas in Sanskrit. Anarthas are unwanted things. And this process is called anartha nivritti. By chanting Hare Krishna, by taking prasadam, associating with saintly persons like all of you, then these anarthas, they come up to the surface. You're kind of boiling the milk and churning up, or boiling something and bringing up the impurities. And so, milk's pretty pure, so I can't really use that one. But and then when we recognize those, then we can actively work and pray, Krishna, please take these away. They're impediments. And when these are removed, the pleasure factor rises greatly. So one of the biggest anarthas, the biggest blocks in spiritual life is this fault finding. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said in the Chaitanya Bhagavat that, I can't remember exactly how it is written, but it says that if you don't offend anyone and you chant Hare Krishna, you'll definitely go back to Godhead. So let's all start today, not offend anyone. Right now, we'll start. But no, through this process, we can get to that point. And was it Rupa Goswami who said, what's that verse, Jamuna? Jiva Doy. Yeah. What's it?
Kindness to all living beings, taste for the holy name, and service to the Vaishnavas. Apart from these, there is no other religion.
Did you guys hear that? Kindness to all living entities, taste for the holy name, and service to the Vaishnavas. Other than this, there is no other religion, no other dharma, no other activity that's worthy of doing. Kindness to all living entities. That doesn't mean, like, the mind will immediately go, well, yeah, but, you know, that dude, he's kind of, you know, I mean, surely they didn't mean him, you know, I mean, come on, you know, right? The mind rationalizes these things, or say, you know, yeah, I have to be nice to everybody, but, you know, non-devotees and, you know, and these people, you know, it doesn't really mean that. It means like, you know, like, just don't beat them up, you know. I mean, the mind says crazy things. That's why you need, what's the theme? Humility. You need humility. Humility means accepting this instruction on face value, consulting those who are more elevated than us, consulting our peers, association of Vaishnavas. Right? So we know. No, it means we're working towards kindness to everyone. In the spiritual realm, everyone is feeling themselves the servant of 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 the servant. So if there's somebody that you think I don't want to serve, then I'm sorry, man, you're not going to cut the mustard there. You're not going to get your pass. So we have to cultivate that. We have to understand with compassion that, you know, it's natural we see faults. And they have that saying that when you're pointing one finger at someone, there's three pointing back at you. And you'll see this. If you practice this, you'll understand that if something really bugs you in someone, it's generally because you have that quality that really bugs you. The ones that make you, you know, you wake up in the middle of the night and you go, oh man, that guy. Those are usually deep in your heart, you know. And so we should actually offer obeisances to that guy and say, thank you for being a conduit for me, pointing out my bad qualities so I can get rid of them and move closer to Krishna. And that's the theme? Humility. So we should recognize that oh, okay, I have that, and I need to work on that, and I need to reveal my mind to my God brothers or my spiritual friends. That how can I deal with this? I have this problem, and then Krishna, when he sees this endeavor, he'll remove that from our hearts. And you can practice this when you're at work. You can practice these things anywhere. Practice not gossiping, not fault-finding, not criticizing. Because again, we're doing that because we don't want to look at ourselves. We don't want to... It's painful to look at ourselves and realize, man, I wasn't the coolest guy around, I wasn't the best parent. I wasn't the best boss. I wasn't the best. I'm not the best of anything. One time one of Prabhupada's disciples said, I am the most fallen, and Prabhupada said, you're not the most of anything. Because Krishna is the most of everything. And this process is so nice because, and the more we clear away those anarthas, the more we can hear the holy names. And these holy names are so powerful, and they provide the ultimate relief. So we have to cultivate this mood of service. Prabhupada says that in the material world, the mother and the relationship mother with a child is it's the closest thing to pure service. And we know that on the material plane there's material sense enjoyment there with the mother serving. But Radhanath Maharaj, I was listening to this lecture by Radhanath Swami, and he told this story about he was going to Badrinarayan Ashram or Gangotri, someplace up in the Himalayas on this small bus, on this windy road. And he said that the ladies that are on the bus with their babies had them trained, so they would just hold them out the window, and they would pass stool and urine out the window. And he said, but he was sitting behind this lady, and he said there was wind, and he said he was feeling these little specks, these wet. And he said the lady turned around, looked at him, and smiled and she was like, yes, you've been blessed, he said. Because in it, the mother has such love for the child that she thinks, Prabhupada said that she thinks the stool is sandalwood paste. So, but that gives you some semblance of what, this pure love, that the mother just, she's serving the child no matter what and thinking it's all wonderful. Second, third child changes, a little bit. And so yes, we have to cultivate this knowledge. How much more time do I have? How much? 10 minutes? Okay. So, Parvati, one time in the Padma Purana, it speaks about how Parvati asked Lord Shiva, what is the greatest form of worship? And Lord Shiva replied, worship of Vishnu or Krishna is the highest form of worship. And she then asked, then she felt a little morose. She thought, oh, I worship Shiva, And then he said, then he understood, and he said, worship of Narayan's devotees, Krishna's devotees, is higher than worshiping Krishna himself. And then she was happy. She said, I worship Shiva, and Shiva is Mahadev, Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. Shiva is the greatest devotee of Lord Krishna. And so again, we can, Srila Prabhupada made this, he said in the Nectar of Devotion that he made this ISKCON, this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, to facilitate the loving exchanges between devotees. That's how important association of the Vaishnava is, associating with those who are interested in moving forward spiritually is. That he said he made this, and he said that this how we treat the Vaishnava, the devotees, is training or a prerequisite to how we will serve Krishna. And in the Padma Purana it says that, I think it's Krishna saying to Arjuna, he says that those who worship me are not me directly are not my devotees, but those who worship the devotees of me are the devotees, are the real devotees. So that's an important aspect. It also highlights the parampara system, that we serve our guru, we serve Krishna. They have that saying, love me, love my dog. You love someone's dog because you love the person, right? So you, by serving the Vaishnava, by accepting this movement of service to, and also there's 3 stages of elevation on the process of bhakti. The first stage is called the Kanishta Adhikari. And the characteristic of a Kanishta Adhikari, which is the lowest level, it's a very exalted level, but it's low. It's the lowest on the 3, is that you recognize Krishna, you recognize God, but you don't recognize the devotees. This is very, very telling in regard to what we've been speaking about. You think, yes, I'm worshiping God, just God and I, you know. But, you know, and that's really easy to do on a lower levels of spiritual advancement, right? Because God's not going to talk back to you on that level. So I just do what I want. Krishna wants me to do this. Everything's cool. It's not like God's, hey man, wait a minute. You know, because we're not at that level where we're communicating directly with God. So if you want to move from that level of Kanishta Adhikari to the second level, Majjhima Adhikari, on that level you recognize the Vaishnavas, you recognize the devotees, you recognize others, you practice kindness to all living entities in service to the Vaishnavas. And that's very pleasing to Krishna. So we come to the temple, we should be in a mood of serving each other. When we see these brahmacharis, wonderful brahmacharis like Chang and Balaram, let's give them a round of applause. We should go up and say, Prabhu. We should go to them and say, Prabhu, do you need anything? Do you need socks? Do you need anything? I want to serve you. If you do that, I tell you right now that if you want to know the secret to move forward in rapidly move forward in the spiritual life, is you serve the devotees. You take up this. These are not just statements that are just there for people when they get really advanced or something cool for us to listen to. We have to practice these. And if we practice these, we'll make spiritual advancement and the pain of living in this relative material world will leave, and we can again reunite with Krishna and have loving exchanges with the Supreme Person. Anyway, I'm close enough, right? So, okay, do you have any questions, Prabhu? Or statements? Do you have something to say, Raj? Raj is my greatest advisor that I have here. Would you like to say something, Raj? Me too. Janavi. Let's give Janavi a round of applause. Blessing us. She came all the way from Mayapur Dham, from the spiritual realm, to visit us. Another round of applause.
You know, you can
I think, again, that's where the association of Vaishnavas comes in, that we see their good qualities, we want to be like that. You know, like we see, you know, you say these elevated Vaishnavas and you think, yes, I want to be like, that's what the Acharya is. But also, something that I don't do enough of is to, and Raj is the poster child for this, to be completely absorbed in the pastimes of Krishna and hearing the pastimes of Krishna and hearing and getting that higher taste, you know, getting that higher taste. And we take shelter. And I think that we suffer when we're not giving up, we're not becoming, what's the theme? Humble. You know, we fight that. You know, I do that. I fight that. I want to put things on the back burner. These, you know, anarchists, just in case, you know, just in case some favorable circumstance appears, I might want to pull that out, you know, and enjoy. So, you know, that's why devotee association and sticking with the process. Vaisheshika says, just stay on the field till the time runs out. That's all we have to do. And Krishna will take care of the rest. And prayer, sincere prayer too. Vandanam is very important, this prayer. And Raj, do you have anything you want to add to that? No? Jamunapati, would you like to add something? So, yeah, I think that's it. Do you have anything else, Johnny, that you do in those circumstances? Yeah. And when we get to that point of begging, then we're really, go ahead. Yeah. Jananivas Prabhu, the pure soul from Mayapur Dham, where Janavi's from, when he was here, I asked him about these anarthas and getting rid of these unwanted things, and he said that everyone has to come to the point where they ask themselves, how much more of this accepting and rejecting business am I going to do? You know, in other words, just give up. Like he says, and then when you reach that point then he says, and then you'll hear the holy names, he said. So. Any more questions or comments?
But what can we do right when we realize we've been criticizing or finding fault with someone or something? What do we do in that moment when we think, oh, what am I doing?
You can serve them. Or offer your obeisances to them. You can go up to everybody and please accept my obeisances and drop down to the floor. It's a good practice. Or do service. You have some resentments or if someone bugs you too much, then Prabhupada says you should respect them from a distance until you can get better. We should understand that if I'm disturbed, there's only one person that can disturb me. You know who that is? Me. Right? That's the only person that can disturb me. And it's always because I have a lack of, what's the theme? Raj?
We'll convince ourselves that there is validity in the wrong that's been done.
Yeah. 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 Everybody hear that? Raj said that we should forgive the person. We should forgive the person if someone has offended us. Generally speaking, if we have some bad quality and someone else has that bad quality and they act upon us, we get very angry. When we've by Krishna's grace, we've given up that anartha, that unwanted thing, that bad quality, those things don't bother us that much anymore. So we have to have compassion. We have to practice the theme. Yeah, and compassion, and understand that we're all in this together. We're all in this together. We're all in this, coming from this material world. We're all getting the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, and we all have our issues. We all have our issues. And so if we concentrate on everyone else's issues, you'll get stuck, you know. It's like I said, it's the most insidious tool of Maya. And even worse than that is you become like Raj, Raj, you were saying that you rationalize in your mind that you know, I'm empowered to see these faults in others. I'm the anointed one, and it's my duty to broadcast these faults everywhere, right? I have this vision, and I see how screwed up all of you are, and it's my mission to tell all you that. And we can actually get caught up in that and criticize spiritual movements and say that there's this problem here, and I see it, and I'm spending all my time revealing this to everyone, that there's a problem here. Meanwhile, the problem here is not being looked at. And we're just cultivating envy, and ultimately envy is always envy of God. If you have enviousness against someone, it's always enviousness of God. That we're thinking, I'm the controller, I'm the proprietor, and I'm the supreme friend. I think I've gone over my time, because my wife's given me 30 minutes. So thank you so much, Prabhu. Please accept my obeisances.